How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thanks for making the time this evening. Oh, well, this evening here in the UK. Yes, yeah. So, you know, when I put out the fact that we're bringing you on, I had loads of questions. But one of the things about our show is that most of my viewers like to know the background side. They want to, they see the videos, they see the albums, but they want to know what was like behind the scenes, the good stuff and the challenging stuff, because it's in this time of COVID and stuff, it's always motivating to hear that, it's not always glamorous at the other side, and you have to go through stuff to come through and stuff. Um, I have an international audience, so it'd be great to find out where you're from and go from there.
Oh man, born and raised in Chicago, singer-songwriter, producer. Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago. Because I went to college in Milwaukee, and Chicago. We used to Michigan Avenue, the Pier, and stuff.
Yeah.
Never really got down to the South Side. But what part of Chicago were you raised?
South Side. I grew up on 45th and King Drive, and then my mom and dad was separated, so I lived with my dad as well, and he lived on 52nd and Damon. So it's like right there in the heart of the hood,
Wow. I mean, there's a lot in the news about Chicago right now. But as I said, when I used to live there, when I used to visit, it wasn't as bad as things are now. But music, though, where was inspiration from for you?
For me, musically, man, my mom had a hell of a record collection, man. I mean, she had so many records, man. She probably had over 4,000 records, man.
4,000?
Yeah, because she collected records for a long time, man. And every day, man, before she get up and go to work, man, she had a music blasting. So my inspiration came from, listening to Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Gene Carn, Patrice Rushen, the Isley Brothers, the Commodores,
Wow.
Tina Marie, Rick James, Keith Sweat, Babyface. I mean, it's everybody. Everybody that was out. She loved music that much that she bought it. Stylistics,
Wow.
the 5-Stair-Step. So my music diversity goes from the beginning. My grandma played a lot of jazz music too.
Wow.
Sarah Vaughan, Dizzy Gillespie, just so much stuff I was able to listen to growing up.
The ability to sing, where did that come from?
Well, my mom and my dad sings. My dad is an awesome singer, man. Him and his brothers had a group.
Wow.
They had a gospel group. They sung a lot of gospel. Then they switched over to R&B a little bit. And my mom was also in the group. They met each other, and then they had my sister, and they had me. And my grandmama sang as well.
Wow. Was it always in from you to become a singer, or what was it like as a kid growing up?
I mean, for me, man, I couldn't really see myself doing anything else but music. Like that was the thing. When I was in high school and in school, man, I was a horrible student. The funny thing about it is I would pass the test, but I didn't like school. The only thing I liked about school was music class. I'd have all A's in the music class and be horrible at everything else.
Okay.
Because I was interested in music, So, yeah.
Now, I did hear that you joined a group. Was it Porsche or Porsche?
Porsche.
Porsche. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the idea? I mean, about being in a group? Because what year was this? Around what year was this?
I think I was in the group. My group started around when I was maybe 15. I don't know how many years ago that was, but I think it was around maybe 90.
Maybe
90.
Late 80s or something like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, about 89.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, I was in high school, and I worked at this. I worked at McDonald's, and this is how I got in the group. I was working at McDonald's. I was flipping the burgers and singing and stuff like that. And then the manager had came over. He was like, "Yo, dude, man, you sound pretty good. We're having an audition for our group. I think you should come and try out for it." So, quite naturally, I went. I sang for them. They loved it, and they put me in the group. And that's how I got in that group.
So, were you guys performing in talent shows and stuff?
Man, we had countless talent shows around Chicago. We went up against a lot of groups that were in Chicago at the time. We made a pretty good name for ourselves in Chicago, but we never could get signed. So one year, what we did was we all jumped in. It was me, it was my group, the Brat, a few other artists that were in Chicago at the time. We all jumped in this van. A lady by the name of Helen Wooten was kind of like our managers. So she put us all in this van, and we drove down to Washington, D.C. And we had a showcase, but nobody came to the showcase because nobody knew who we were. So we're performing in front of this empty audience, with nobody there. So you know what, we decided, man, that we were gonna go outside the hotel and just sing for anybody who walked up. And Eddie F, Heavy D's DJ, was one of the people that walked up. He was like, "Yo, man," we like, "Can we sing for you?" He was like, "Go ahead, I don't care."
Did you know who he was though? Did you know that he was Eddie F?
Yeah, we knew he was Eddie F. Because we watched the videos.
Okay.
Oh, that's Eddie F right there. Let's go over that. So we asked him, "Can he sing? Can we sing?" He was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So we started singing. He loved it. He was like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna sign you guys." Quite naturally, we didn't believe it.
Okay.
So when he walked off, we started singing for somebody else because we seen another star come out. So we started singing for them. He immediately walked back over and was like, "No, don't sing for nobody else, guys. I'm gonna sign you." And about a month later, 2 months later, he sent us plane tickets from Atlanta. I mean, he sent us plane tickets to Chicago to fly to Jersey, where he lived at the time. And that's how we got signed.
Well, was it the group and the Brats, or just
it was the group? No, it was the group, the whole group.
But what about the Brat? You said she was part of the. She
had met at that time. She had met Jermaine Dupri.
Okay.
And she had got signed as well.
Okay. So he signed. How many were in the group?
4. It's a 4-member group.
Okay. So what did your folks say when you said Heavy D's DJs signing us and sending us to Atlanta? Were they like, "Yeah, go ahead," or?
Wait, say it again. I missed the question. Say it again.
Your family, your parents, what did they think when you told them that Heavy D's DJ is about to sign us and I'm flying to Atlanta?
You know what, my parents, they were okay with it. Again, they weren't too much involved in my musical career like that, because again, my when I met Eddie, I think I was like 18.
Okay.
At that particular time. So when we met him, my parents they were not that involved. My dad was like, "Man, you better get you a damn job." You know what I'm saying? And stop thinking about this music stuff. You sitting there laying on my couch, and I got to get up and go to work every day. You got to do something, son. So he wasn't really too happy about about how things were going with me, because again, when you ain't making no money, man, and you got to watch your pops get up, he kind of pissed off about that. So, but they were very happy, very, very supportive. I got on that plane, man, and I never looked back.
So then, before you get signed, what happens that only you go through? What happens?
So when we get to the group had already been together for quite some time. I think we were already together maybe about 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
So we were already having some problems, because we didn't make it. It was hard for us. So we already had some turmoil going on inside the group before we met Eddie. So that was our last hope, was just to go out there and sing for anybody, because after that we would have been done with each other. So he kind of saved us as a group. So by the time we got to Eddie's house, I was pretty much one of the songwriters of the group. There was another guy by the name of Tobar, who was one of the writers of the group. Also Paul he didn't write as much, but he did write some. So when we got to Eddie's place, I was the only one who can play the piano. So when we got there, Eddie had this, he had a pre-production room, and he also had the big studio in his house.
Wow. So
he would let us go down there and just create and just learn the equipment. But it was just me going down there. I would just be in that room all day. Eddie probably had maybe like 4 or 5 other artists, not besides us, living there too. But I was just monopolize that space, man. Everybody would try to get in there. I'd just be in there by myself with the door closed, just trying to learn this equipment.
Yeah.
And while the other guys was, nobody else did music. So the other guys would be outside playing basketball. And I guess one day while we were there, a big fight broke out, you know, on the basketball court, and the fault, I mean, and the fight came from outside to inside. So they bust a big hole in his wall.
Oh God.
So he was like, yo, man, y'all got to get the hell out of my house. I brought you guys here to work and y'all messing up my house. Like, y'all got to go. So he sent everybody home, not just me, but all the other groups that was there too. Everybody had to go home. So when we went home, about a month later, he called me up. He was like, yo, Donell, let me go back a little bit. He had a compilation album that he was coming out with, called The Untouchable.
Oh, from Motown. Okay.
And I had wrote a song with Dave Hall for that project called I Can Make You Feel Real Good. That's the only song that me and the group ever had that came out. So he knew that I was a songwriter. He loved what I did. So when he sent us home, he called me up. He said, yo, Donell, I'm working on this new artist called Usher. I want you to come and write a song with me. I'm gonna fly you back down to come write a song. So when he flew me back, you know, I wrote the song. Usher liked it. I met him. So Puff had heard that record. He was like, yo, this dude kind of got a nice writing style. Why don't you send him over here? Because I got a track that can't nobody write to. It's been hard for people to write to this damn track. So I want to see if Donell could do it. So I went over there, man, and I wrote Think of You with Faith Evans. And that became one of Usher's biggest records. And that from that point on, man, I mean, my life started to change. Shortly after that, I had produced and wrote In the Hood, Yearning, and I think I forget the other name of the song that's on that album. But I had wrote it. Eddie F was like, yo, man, go back home and try to get the guys to record these records with you. So I went back home, tried to get them to record it. Actually, we wrote In the Hood together. But I tried to get them to record the record. They wouldn't record it. So I just recorded it myself. And when I got back to
what do you mean they wouldn't want to record it?
They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. You know, at that time, I think they were still upset that Eddie had brought me out there by myself, you know. But when I came back, I was like, yo, Eddie liked these joints right here. He wants us to record it so I can bring it back. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want to record it. So what happened was I ended up recording the songs myself, got back and gave them to Eddie. He loved it. He was like, yo, I say, man, I ain't want to do it. He said, all right, I'm gonna go get you a deal. So he went and got me a deal. He went and sat down with L.A. Reid, man, and played the music for, I think he played it for L.A. and Pebbles. And at that time, man, they was like, yo, I want to meet him, you know, bring him down to Atlanta. And when I got down to Atlanta, I sang Yearning live for him. And he was like, yo, young brother, come back with a record. I want to put it out.
Wow, goodness. I mean, I think most people listen to this and not understand why the guys are saying you've got a golden opportunity and they would just say no. Could they be that upset that they would just think, you know, forget it, we'd rather go work in McDonald's than actually sing?
Well, no, because at that time when I was working with Eddie and I was writing those songs, they were also working with another artist in Chicago. They were writing some songs for some other people in Chicago.
Okay.
I just think that they felt like, okay, well, you got your thing going on. We're gonna have our thing going on. But when I tried to get it, you know, get us back together to record those songs, they just didn't want to do it. So I wasn't gonna miss the opportunity. I just went ahead and did the songs, and again, you know, we were already going through a lot of stuff as a group already. So that was like the final nail in the coffin right there.
Now, the one thing you skipped over is that here you are, you moved out, you met Eddie, you're meeting Puffy. I mean, he was probably one of the biggest people around by that time. How did it feel? Did you feel in awe, or did you just feel like, yeah, no problem, you're just working, or did you not realize there was this is so much so quick?
It may sound like it was quick, but it wasn't that quick. You know, this was years and years and years of work that we did as a group to even get to that point. So for me, meeting Puff and all that, I mean, I'm not a starstruck person. I don't, you know, my opportunity to work, that was what I always wanted. So I went in with my head down and I worked. You know, when I got to Jersey and to New York, Eddie put me around I was around Kenny Green. You know what I'm saying? So I was around Dave Hall. I was around Kenny Carnegie. Kenny Tongue, a lot of his Untouchables producers I was around, and it developed my sound, it developed my craft. I mean, I was around Eddie, you know what I'm saying? So he put me around a lot of great people, man. So when it was time to work, I just worked, you know, I just worked, and I never, when I got there that time, I stayed, you know, I stayed there, and I never went back home except, you know, to visit my family. But New York became my home at that point, because now I'm working, I'm getting things done, and that's what things happen for me.
So did you feel that you were part of mainly the Untouchables? Because I know I interviewed Buddy a couple of weeks ago, and about, you know, Kenny just used to write almost as if he was drinking water. Did Eddie try and keep the Untouchable teams close by, or the fact that you're signed to LaFace, do you have to follow the sort of TLC and the LaFace crowd? What was it like?
Nah, I was all Untouchables, man. I was, you know, I was a LaFace art. Well, I was an Untouchables artist on LaFace.
Okay.
Because it was a production deal with Untouchables and LaFace. So I was always on Untouchables.
Okay.
And Eddie wasn't like that, man. Eddie was like, yo, man, go work, go do whatever you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because the bigger you are, the bigger it makes our brand. So he was never that kind of person where you want to hold you. Nah, he wasn't like that. He was more like, you know, the more you go do everything. You know, go do everything, because it's gonna make you bigger as an artist.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciated about him, man. He never held me back. You know what I'm saying? He always, you know, pushing me. You know what I'm saying? Even sometimes I would be a little hesitant, he was still pushing me. You know what I'm saying? Nah, go do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I really respect and love about Eddie.
I mean, Jimmy Jenkins from Uptown said the same thing about Eddie, you know, being a sort of a genius, and then everyone else who I've spoken to have just nothing but nice things to say about him. I think Buddy's talked about how he set them up with ASCAP and all that stuff, so that he wasn't trying to take their money and stuff.
Man, he did the same thing for me, man. I mean, you know, he just made it really, really easy. You know, he made it really, really easy, man. You know, and I can appreciate him for that. You know, I wouldn't be where I am today if Eddie hadn't walked into my life.
Yeah. And so now you're on LaFace. You know, you've got probably the best songwriter in our generation with Babyface. And then, you know, LA as an amazing producer. Did you get to meet Babyface, or was it just made LA that you were working with?
Well, in the beginning, it was only LA. You know, Babyface was a studio rat, so he's always in the studio, and LA was the guy taking care of the business. But eventually, I did get a chance to meet Babyface, and you know, he was, for me, man. I mean, now I was starstruck on that, because I watched Babyface. You know, like he was one of my idols. You know what I'm saying? Like his writing style, everything about him was so dope. He had his own sound. You know, and that was the thing that I was drawn towards singers, songwriter, producers, because that's what I wanted to become.
Yeah. I was surprised. You didn't get him to plan a song for you?
You know what, man? The funny thing about that, man, is that, you know, when we got to LaFace and I met with L.A. Reid, he loved what I did for Usher, and he loved what I had wrote for myself so much that they was like, yo, they were looking for an artist like me that was self-contained, because, you know, a lot of pressure was already on Babyface to write everybody's project. So they wanted to have another guy in the building that they didn't have to worry about. Let him go do his thing. We don't have to worry about him. Okay. And that was the greatest thing about it, because it was me, I could write and produce, and then we had Eddie, then we had the Untouchables. So we really didn't need, you know, I would have loved to have one. Don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have a Babyface record, you know what I'm saying? But they had enough confidence in the team that Eddie created that we could handle it. You know, and by that time, you know, Eddie had already did Intro, he had already did the Mary Project. I mean, he was already on fire. They knew he could deliver.
Yeah. I think one of the questions people ask is, did you and Kenny ever write anything together?
Nah, we never wrote anything together, man. But I just used to watch Kenny, man. He'd go in the bathroom, man, and write, you know what I'm saying, and come out with a hit, you know. I mean, he was pretty fast too. Yeah.
And so you do your first album. I mean, that In the Hood, the original for me was the best. I wasn't too keen on the remix for some strange reason, because the original, it's almost like it was so perfect, the first one. But what was it like then doing a video shoot and then doing all the promotional stuff? Because being an artist in a studio is one thing, but now you have to go promote yourself. What was it like for you? I mean, you're doing it now, but back in those early days, what was it like for you?
for me, it was tough. It was tough because I mean, quite naturally, I'm an introvert, you know. So, and I'm a quiet guy. I'm that guy when you walk in the room, Donell's over there in the corner chilling. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'd rather be in the studio. So it was tough for me in the beginning. But I had to open up. You know, it took me quite some time to get to that point. But in the beginning, man, I was real sheltered. And it was tough because I wasn't used to being around a lot of people. You know, most of the people I'm around, I know them. I know their mannerisms. I know how they behave. So, I mean, for me to be in a crowded room, I kind of got some anxiety about that, you know. So, but I love the opportunity, man. My first video, we had to shoot that In the Hood video like twice. You know, the first video, you know, it was my first video. I didn't have it wasn't no facial expressions, wasn't no, you know, it was just, damn, man, we need more out of him. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up shooting that video twice, man. I think T-Boz directed the second video.
Wow.
The one with the girls with the baseball bat and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened with the video situation.
Yeah. In those early days, because a lot of people ask, I mean, of course, Left Eye, everyone's going to ask tons of questions with that, but I'll get to that later. But in those, so you've written for Usher, and I actually did like that particular track because you came off of the Devante track, and it really pushed and made his album go well. The question I had was the collaboration with Faith. Because I wonder, when you have two different artists writing a song, what is it like? I mean, does somebody write the first verse and you write the second, or is it the chorus? How does that come together?
Okay, well, I again, you know, Pup was trying to get everybody to write this record because that beat is not your regular beat. It's like, you know, the doom doom doom.
Yeah.
You know, so he tried to get a lot of people to write this track, and they couldn't. So what happened was, when I got there, all the time I think that it just came to me as soon as I heard the track. So I ended up writing the verses, and I wrote the hook. Okay. And what happened was, Faith came in and she wrote the bridge. To another, all that part right there. She did that. So we kind of collaborated on that. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much how that song came together. But the verses I wrote the verses and the hook, and she came in and did that bridge part.
Okay. So that's the kind of questions I had, and because I think you always, people who know you would say, oh, Donell writes and produces his own stuff, and that's when I spoke to Eric, I said, but how come he was brought in to do some stuff on his second album? Was it something that the Face was thinking, okay, we need to change things around, or what was the idea behind getting other people?
You talking about on the second album?
Yes, on the second album.
On the second album, I think that what happened was they just wanted to, you know, do some different things. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, in the beginning, I didn't like it, you know, because I already felt like we could handle it, and we could. You know, the first album to me was a classic. I think it's one of the dopest first albums from a male artist. You know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, you know, we only sold maybe 300,000 records, and that may be pushing it. But they gave me another shot. So what happened was, when we went back in the studio to do the second album, I had already had Think About It. I had I Want to Love You. I had what else? I think I had He Won't Hurt You. So I had about 3 songs already ready. But they didn't know about these songs. They thought we were in New York, you know, BSing around. You know, they didn't think we had a whole album, you know what I'm saying? And we had I had maybe about 4 or 5 songs at that time. So that's when Candy Tukes brought in. She said, you know, I think you should work with Eric. And I'm like, you know, at first I was like, I really don't want to do it, because I really want to do my own stuff.
Yeah.
But when I flew down to Atlanta, we got there, and it was him and Wes, and we brought a guy in named Tommy Martin, who played the guitar.
Yeah.
So when Shorty Got Our Eyes on Me was made, man, I mean, we collectively did that joint together, and it was amazing, man. I mean, I was like, oh shit, I'm like, oh shit, all of a sudden, I like collaborating now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I wouldn't have had that record had I not collaborated with those guys. So now I'm starting to feel like, oh shit, collaboration is pretty dope. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's not just me in the room thinking about it. I got three other people, or four other people in the room, and we're bouncing ideas off each other. So I'm like, oh, this is dope. So that song came out, and then Eric and Wes went back and they did another song for me. They did Have You Seen Her, and I didn't have anything to do with that record at all. But when I heard, I was like, this is smashed. Then I fell in love with Eric and Wes. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get them there. These guys got joints. You know what I'm saying? They can make records. And you know, to me, man, Eric has this writing style that's so dope, man. I mean, like, it's a lot of swag in his writing, man. It's like that street swag, man, and I loved it. It brought a whole nother side to Donell. You know what I'm saying? Which I appreciated, man, and I really appreciated him for jumping on the project, definitely.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because when I did a poll and about 3,000 people in my community voted, and I said, which of those your first 5 albums do they prefer? Everyone went with, you know, Where I Want to Be, because it was your most popular one. But the real hardcore fans said the first one, and he had some that preferred Gemini, the Journey of a Gemini. So you had people who really know into the music really said, no, my heart was the real classic one, because it was one of the kind of things where you're listening to it because, well, you first, you know, play in the hood, and then you listen to the album and really see the rawness. But then, you know, when an album's commercial, everyone's hearing it and stuff, it's like easy to say, yeah, that's the favorite one. When they bring in Left Eye to bring, and I know, you know, I've heard you speak about the fact that she burned Andre's house down and she was trying to find her own voice and stuff. When she comes on the track, did you know the song was going to get that big?
Nah. Well, they had Anthony Hamilton was involved in that record. A guy by the name of Bilal. Cliff Lighty. Yeah, not the singer Bilal.
Okay.
No, not the singer. A guy, a writer, songwriter by the name of Bilal. Also, Darren Lighty and Eddie F.
Okay.
So when I first heard the record, it was the track was amazing. I was like, damn, this track is stupid. But it was another song. It was a song called When You Hear the Car Horn Blow. And I just hated that song. So they went back and rewrote it, man. And they came back with You Know What's Up. And I was like, God damn, this shit is so hot. But I didn't have anything to do with Left Eye getting on that record. Eddie played the record for LA, and I think him and LA discussed something, and they was like, yo, we should put Lisa on the record. You know, so when Lisa got on the record, man, it just took the record to a whole nother place.
Yeah.
Now, can I say I knew that it was going to be a big hit? I can't say that because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We know that it feels good to us and we groove it in the studio, but you know, you don't know until you really put it out. But man, when she got on that record and I heard it, I was like, damn. And again, they were at the height of their career. You know, and things were moving in a different direction. I think after the burning down of the house, they sold an extra $2 or $3 more million. I mean, 2 or 3 million records after that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just meant to be. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, there's a distinct sound by the Untouchables. You know, there's a way that drum programming goes, Darren, and so you could hear the track and you could hear because I think at that time Eddie and the Touchables and Dave all had a distinct sound. You know, like Teddy Riley or Roddy Jenkins, that you could say, okay, or even Jermaine and stuff. So what does the album? So when the album, your second album, goes platinum plus, what's it like for you? Just all around, you know, you're more successful, well, internationally known with all the success. Does it change you in any way?
Yeah, changed everything about me. You know, I'm feeling myself now. You know, I go from this, you know, this little introvert guy, you know, sticking my chest out now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so it was a unique situation, man. I loved every moment about it. I was on the road, man. I mean, I'm doing shows in front of, you know, thousands and thousands of people, man. And not to mention, man, when I sing Where I Want to Be, I'm watching people in the crowd, man, crying and it's this music is touching people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We go from happy moments to sad moments. You know what I'm saying? So it felt like I had arrived, and it felt like I was really, really touching people with this music, you know, especially in London, man. I remember coming in London and singing, you know, what's up for the first time, man. And I couldn't even really sing it because the crowd was singing it louder than me, and I had the microphone.
Wow.
You know, so it was, I had amazing moments, man, with that particular album, man. And still today, man, when I come over to London or everywhere I go, man, it's when those two records I played, man, the crowd, man, they go wild. Because I guess it's a moment in their life that they remember that made them feel good.
Yeah. I mean,
sad.
Yeah, no, but you came out at the right time in the era where music was appreciated. So I think where we wanted to come to is coming to this, the fact that you've come over your seventh album called 100% Free.
Yeah.
Now, I follow you on Instagram, and I noticed that over the summer there was, you know, there was I don't know if there was some, one of the things that we've noticed just in general that I didn't realize how much the record labels had a lot of ownership over people's work. So Prince has been talking about this for many years, even Michael Jackson in the early 2000s. And it's only recently that my audience and I are realizing that, wow, it's like going to Walgreens, buying ingredients to make a cake. And then by the time you make it, Walgreens says, well, you know, we actually own the cake. So we could give you a slice of it, but we're taking the rest home. Right. And so I just wonder how much of the business side of the industry did you not really grapple with when you first started, that after a while you realize, wow, it's not as fun as I actually thought it would be.
Well, you know what, to be honest with you, man, I didn't, in the beginning, I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a musician, man. I care about the music. I'm not thinking about the business part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we hire people to do. You know, I'm a creative person. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't care. And when I got my, I was 19 when I got my, maybe 19 or 20, something like that. When I got my publishing deal, I didn't have no money. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody gives me $80,000. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell, man? I mean, you know, I know I wasn't rich, but I go from 0 to 80 grand. I'm able to do some stuff for my family. I mean, not much, but I'm able to do something. So I didn't think about those things, you know. Those things didn't come later on, until later on after the way I want to be. Now I'm starting to think about, okay, because I at the end of the day, man, I got some great checks. I don't know about the other artists, you know what I'm saying, but I they took care of me. Yeah, maybe because, you know, again, there's a difference. The difference is that if you're an artist and you're out here singing other people's songs, you're gonna have a hard time. Yeah. That wasn't me. You know, I was out here singing my own songs. I had ownership of my publishing. You know what I'm saying? Like I did a publishing deal, but they only had owned 25% of my publishing. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So while I wasn't getting money from LaFace, I was still getting money from ASCAP. I was getting money from my publishers. So I wasn't in a bad position. You know what I'm saying? I can't really say I ever made a dime from LaFace because we were always unrecouped. But I had money coming from other places. I had show money. So it wasn't like I was twiddling my thumbs like, oh shit, what's going to happen next for me? Yeah. I just kept working, man. You know, and I love the fact that my life went that way instead of me not being a songwriter, because I hear the horror stories of you know, so many people, man, not having money and being broke, and it can happen, man, especially when you're chasing that look, because artists have to look a certain kind of way. You got to drive a certain kind of car. You can't, you know, there's this thing you got to keep up. Yeah.
Well, no, but you started off by talking about how Eddie was different, because most people in his position would have meant that you wouldn't have had your publishing stuff. And so that's a lot of credit goes to him for setting you guys up.
Man. I mean, you know, he had a staff, man. They made it really, really easy, man. They set up everything, man. Again, I was a producer on Untouchables as well. So, I mean, he was getting me work. You know, the 702 record came from him. Eddie, I had a group at the time, these young girls, and I had wrote the song for them. So Eddie came and heard the record. He was like, yo, I'm working on this group named 702. You should give them this record. I'm like, nah, this is for my group. He's like, Donell, I'm telling you, you should give them this record. So I said, you know what? All right, here you go. Just take it, and he played it for him, man. Next thing you know, they wanted to record it. You know, so I was always in a position to get money working with Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Like I was, because he made sure that, you know, everybody on his team ate. And that's what I respect him and love about him, man. Because I mean, you know, he kind of almost like a lot of times he would give other people deals when he could do the work himself. He'd be like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna send Dave this. I'm gonna send Donell this. When he could have actually did it himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you got to have a lot of respect for somebody like that, man.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just have, let me, if I run through some of the questions that people ask, because there's a few of them here. Okay, somebody said, okay, so with the success of the Usher stuff, actually about the, let me see, okay. What was your favorite spot to write and reflect?
Studio. I had a home studio, and I just go down there and work every day, man. I light some candles up and, you know, set the mood, and I just go down to write. You know, low lit room, kind of like this room is lit right now, but it'd probably be a little bit darker.
Wow.
Yeah, I just like to catch a vibe, man. For me, it's all about the vibe, and melodies just flow. You know, I in some ways I feel like I'm an antenna, and I just get the signal, and whatever comes through is that's what happens.
When I speak to a lot of songwriters, whether Melvin Riley, Timmy Gaffin and stuff, it seems as if that's what happens, that it just comes down, and when they talk about it, that they don't know this melody comes or the beat comes and the lyrics come in. It's almost like a gift as opposed to going to school to learn how to write a song.
That's the only way I can say it. It is a gift. You know, again, I feel like I'm just watching the process happen, even though it's coming through me. I feel like I'm just watching the process happen because, again, when the music starts to play, things just pop right in my head like boom. Wow. Okay, this should go for that. You know what I'm saying? Melodies just come right in. So, you know, I guess you can call it a gift, but again, I almost feel like I'm just an antenna and I just get the signal.
Yeah. The other question was, what is his favorite song and why?
My favorite song would be on my first album. It's called I Want You to Know. And the reason why I love that song so much is because when I wrote it, again, I'm speaking about that spiritual thing, man, where it just came to me in a way that I knew I had to make this record. From the chords, from everything, like, because I wouldn't naturally play chords like that.
Yeah.
It just felt really good. And when I listened to it and I sat back, I'm like, even though it sounds like I'm singing to another woman, it almost felt like I was supposed to be listening to this as if I was writing it to myself.
Wow.
You know, and I get that with a lot of my songs. When I really sit back and listen to it, it's like, damn, is this a message for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I supposed to be looking at this the opposite way around? Like, because a lot of them seem like I'm talking to myself, but you wouldn't know that because they're about females. They're about, you know, so
yeah. I've got Brando Chicago 5, so he's from Chicago. He says, did you feel like you got support from other Chicago artists from Chicago?
You know what, man? I can't say I did or I can't say I didn't. I never reached out to anybody, you know. I believe that if I had a more outgoing personality at that particular time of my life, then I believe that, you know, everybody would embrace me. I never got any negative anything from anybody in Chicago or from any artist. But, you know, again, I was an introvert. You know, I was one of those people that was kind of scared to jump out. Now, if I'm drinking, that's a different story.
Yeah,
now, I'm the most outgoing person there, but I had to have alcohol to do it. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. So the other question and I'm just running through some of the questions because I did. Did you do any collaboration with Nas? That's what somebody.
Nah, I never did a collaboration with Nas, man. Would love to, you know what I'm saying? Because he's definitely one of my favorite MCs, man.
But you're going to release a joint album. That's what somebody said. Donell and Nas were going to. They said Donell and Nas were supposed to release a joint album. Was that ever?
That's the first I'm ever hearing of that.
Okay.
I just really met Nas, man, a few years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, but Eddie used to always tell me, man. I think when I wrote the song "Life Goes On," Nas had reached out to Eddie like, "Yo, I love that record." You know what I'm saying? Yo, dude, man, really put his foot in that record. But I never got a chance to meet him, man.
Okay.
And he had a concert in Detroit maybe about 4 years ago, man. And I went and I got a chance to meet him, man. So
Okay.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you had a fan from Japan, Where I Want to Be or Life Goes On, but my favorite songs was Believe in Me. And it says, tell them somebody in Japan really loves you so much. I mean, that's the thing about, it's sometimes hard to realize how much you reach out to people in Japan, Africa and stuff, because, you know, when you're very US based and stuff. And I think a lot of people were really complimenting about your style. Now, I know back in the day, Chicago, back in the 50s and 60s, Chicago was known for style, but for you personally, where did that sense of stress style come from?
I mean, well, my grandfather used to always rock fedoras. I'm talking about, man, he had so many fedoras, it's crazy. But that wasn't really the reason why I started wearing fedoras. You know, the reason I started wearing fedoras is because at like 18, I started balling at 18. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was self-conscious. That's another reason why I was pretty much an introvert too, because I was self-conscious about, you know, my hairline. You know what I'm saying? And back then they didn't have what they got now, where guys can go and do all these things to fix it up and all of that. So I was so what we did was, I remember when I was with the group, Eddie noticed that. So what he did was he made everybody else in the group cut their hair off.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So we were all looking like the R&B Onyx at that particular time. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he did. So my style and everything that it definitely comes from Chicago, man. The rocking of the hats, you know, tilted to the side, just like, you know, because Chicago was known for pimping. So, you know, my whole swag was just, you know, real cool, real cool, calm and collective, man, but just with an edge.
Yeah. But it's strange because everyone cuts their hair now. I mean, but Jordan was doing it, but yeah. I think back in those, when you're young, it probably made a massive difference. And it wasn't so many R&B acts that had low cut hairs back then.
Nah, the only one was R. Kelly. I mean, he the only one that had a bald head, and at that particular time. But and that's why I wore hats, because I didn't want people to say, well, oh, he's trying to be like, you know. So I said, you know what, let's flip it and do the hat thing.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about your family life. How was it being an R&B star, an artist, touring and everything, and then maintaining a sort of a healthy, balanced family?
It was tough. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie about it. It was tough. I had 4 children at that time. I really didn't get it. I was there financially, but I really wasn't there. I missed a lot of great moments, you know, due to the fact that I had to go out and promote, and I had to go out and do shows and all these things like that. But they understood, and but it was tough. It was tough for me as a dad and someone who go from not having anything to now I'm a full provider, you know. So I had to make sure that my house life was in a great shape.
The touring part, did you enjoy that part? Because you said you're an introvert, but what was it like when you had to be on tour?
I loved it. You know what? Because at that, now I'm in my, if we're talking about, I'm in my 2nd album now. So, I mean, things are moving up. I knew how to turn into that guy when it was time to go on stage. You know, there were 2 different people. And I'm a Gemini too, so I knew how to turn it on and then turn it off. You know, so I had to become somebody else when it was time to go on stage. And I did that pretty well. I do that still today. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it's time to go on stage, as soon as I put my clothes on, it makes me feel different. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, I got my swag is there. But until I get, it's almost like a superhero. When they put the suit on, then they ready to go. That's how it is for me. Like, when I put my clothes on, I'm looking in the mirror and putting the hat right, and it just makes me feel like a totally different person. Then I can go out and do my thing.
I always heard Beyonce, when she said it back in the day, that she you know, because when you interview her, she's very shy and reserved. Then she says, but when she's on the stage, she becomes a different person. And I didn't understand that, but as you're saying, it kind of makes sense that you're able to put on another person. And But then if you were in a small private gathering of 6 people and they said, hey, sing, would it be a challenge?
It probably would. Nowadays it probably would, because I'm just used to doing it a certain kind of way. But when I was a kid, I didn't have a problem with singing in front of anybody. I don't know where these things developed at. But maybe I picked up some things along the way. But when I was a kid, man, I used to love when girls asked me to sing in the lunchroom. You know what I'm saying? Because I love the attention that I was getting. But again, those are people I knew. I think when I got into the music business, I was a little intimidated by other celebrities.
Yeah.
So I think that was my thing that made me more of an introvert.
Yeah. So did you apart from Left Eye, which other and you also did some stuff with Usher, but what about the other people, Tony Braxton and Outkast and Goody Mob, Pink? Did you, because you're part of The Face, did you guys sort of, even as yet, did you guys have a office party and everyone's doing stuff? I don't know.
You know what? I mean, honestly, I don't know, because again, I lived in Jersey, and LaFace was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So all of the LaFace artists lived in Atlanta. I was the only one that didn't. Because I was an Untouchables artist. I was just signed to LaFace. So as Untouchables, yeah, we got together, man. We balled out. We had a great time.
Yeah.
But for me, when we did, I knew everybody. So I can have a great. It's different when you know everybody in the room than when you go somewhere you don't know nobody.
Yeah,
some people can function in those situations where they can still be the life of the party when they don't know people.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that.
yeah. But okay. So, but with Intro then, because they were a group that were, I mean, their songs were so powerful, especially with Kenny wrote and stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's so strange thing. Their albums didn't go double platinum. I was surprised. Everyone would tell you they loved Intro, they bought the album, but it didn't get the push. But I know, and when I spoke to Buddy, he talked about Kenny's passing, especially after they wrote New Line. But he's part of Untouchables.
Yeah.
What was it? How hard was it for you guys when he passed, or when he was going? Were you all part there?
Well, I mean, it was tough. It was pretty tough. I mean, it was very unexpected. Again, I had only met Kenny a few times. I wasn't really close with him like that.
Okay.
And when I came around, they were so busy on the road, they weren't really around a lot. Okay. Because they were promoting their album, they were out doing their thing. So as they finished their project, I think we had came to Eddie maybe a year after that. So they were out doing their thing.
Okay.
So we didn't get the chance to spend a lot of time together. But I got a chance to hang around with Chico DeBarge.
Chico.
Yeah, that's a good brother, man. Good brother, man. I think I wrote a song for him on his album, because he used to be signed to LaFace too. Before I got signed to LaFace, he was a LaFace artist as well.
I only remember him at Motown. Okay.
No, he was on LaFace at first. Then he went to Motown.
Okay, I got his album on Motown. Okay.
Yeah, man. So I got a chance to be around a lot of great people, man. But I'm still an introvert. I was still, one of those quiet guys.
Yeah, this is somebody. There's Omar who was into music as well. His what he says, he suggested that, did you record your own version of "Get It Together"? Maybe a duet with Mila.
Nah. It was always a woman's song. So I never thought to lay any parts down. I strictly wrote that for a girl group that I had.
Okay, I think the question I did have then, I guess, is with this your 7th album, the whole dynamics of music has changed. R&B has almost wiped away from us and stuff. What was from somebody who was really in the mix of it, in the 90s and early 2000s, which especially the Untouchables doing a lot of work, and then you've seen hip hop being pushed by the labels and stuff. What was it like for you guys, especially for you, to see how your core was being limited, very limited airplay? So people are saying, look, we didn't get to listen to most of the other albums, because it wasn't getting much airplay and promotion because hip hop was pushed in. What was it like from the inside as an artist?
It was horrible. I can remember, again, being on the Face Records, and I seen the shift coming when when Arista Records shut down and all the artists had to go over to Jive Records, and then L.A. Reid, he went over to Def Jam. I seen a shift then. I knew something was happening. But for me, man, I mean, it really didn't bother me as much as it should have, because by then I had already left New York and I had moved down here to Atlanta, so I can raise my family, So, when those things happen, man, I the way things are now, I really feel like there was an agenda to dumb down the music, because, quite naturally, man, the powers that be, they know that music heals. Music heals the soul. It teaches. And they also know that, well, if we give a few people some money, we can fuck up the whole population if we allow a few people to send the wrong message. So now a lot of people are sending the damn wrong message, because if I'm a young guy and I want to be a songwriter and I see this is what's selling, then that's what I'm gonna start writing. I'm not gonna write some good stuff. I'm gonna write whatever is selling. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a decision made by somebody higher up to say, okay, let's get away from this and let's start doing this. Because when we came out, we were singing about love. The thing about R&B back then was that you had Maxwell, D'Angelo, me, you had Usher, you had R. Kelly, Joe,
Brian McKnight,
Eric Benet, Chico DeBarge. I mean, you had a lot of, you had Carl Thomas, Dave Hollister. The funny thing about it is that we all sang R&B, but we all had our own styles. Nobody sounded the same. And we all sang about love in different ways. You had some guys was more about sex, some guys was more about relationships, other guys were about both. And I think that what's going on today is the fact that a lot of people sound the same. A lot of the music sounds the same. Nobody has their own sound. It's just like, you play the radio and you hear one long record, because everything is so much of the same. And I think back then it was diverse. You had a lot of different sounds, and I think that equated to the type of love that we had back then. Now it's a little different, and I think that's where we're going. We're getting back to that.
But then did you ever get a chance to talk to someone like LA and say, he was up there to say what was his thoughts about how things have shifted? Because you're saying about an agenda. As fans, we could see it, but we don't understand how things are controlled. We just realize that people want to go back to the old stuff and are listening to the old stuff. Like the verses, the Teddy and Babyface one was really the big one. But then the Pastor Mike was very big because it was like, these are the songs we remembered. And I think when you came out with Karma and I played it, a lot of people says, oh, classic Donell, and because it sounded like what you used to come up with, and you're doing it today, it almost feels like, well, if he can do it, why can't anyone else do it? Did you?
To be honest, To be honest with you, man, when I did Karma, and I'm gonna be honest, man, people may say that sounds like my old. It's not really my old style. What I did was that was, to me, Karma is an older sound. My sound was even more young. Like, I wouldn't equate and say Karma sounds like a He Won't Hurt You, or I mean, it's two different styles. That Karma style of music, that came back from like the 80s. You know what I'm saying? The 70s, when the Stylistics was doing it. The reason I did that record is because on this particular album, what I decided to do was I wanted to talk about love. I wanted to promote love. So on this particular 100% free album, I said I'm going to do every genre of music that I can to push love. It's not going to be your typical R&B album that people expect from me, because if I'm trying to push love, I want to do it in every genre. So I did a house track that goes to that area. I did a reggae track mixed with a little African that goes to that area. Then I had to do what people expected me. So I did 3 R&B tracks. I did Serious. I did Karma, and also did I forget the name of it, yeah, I did those records, and then I did a hip hop record, which is Fresh. But my intentions for doing this particular album was to reach as many people as I can with the message of love.
Yeah.
If somebody is expecting the regular Donell Jones album, R&B all the way through, that's probably never going to happen again, because I never want to be put in a box. My thing is, I want to grow as a songwriter, and if people don't accept that, then that is what it is. But we as creators don't want to do the same thing we did before, because I feel like if you want to listen to that style of music, then you already got those albums. Just go back and listen to those records.
Yeah,
I'm always going to be the kind of guy that makes new R&B records, but you'll probably never get a record where it's just going to be R&B from front to end. Because for me that's boring.
Yeah,
that's for me, that's playing it safe, and I don't want to play it safe. I want to create things that go far in different places, reach different places. Because for me, it's about love. It's about the messages of love. So I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, and I'm only going to reach a certain amount of people doing R&B. So that's my core. But at the end of the day, I want to spread it out and do other things.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely something it's very adventurous, and I wonder, the idea of having it 100% free is something that people are like, oh, what's the catch? But because it's very rare for anyone to give anything away for free, and especially something as precious as creative music. From your point of view, what was the inspiration for doing something like this?
Because you know what, when the pandemic hit, I just seen the world, man, just go crazy, man. I mean, a lot of people lost their jobs, and I had got a strong thought that you should do a free album. Again, I feel like I'm picking up the signal. So I got a strong thought: you should do a free album, and you should name it 100% free. And then the thought came, and the thought came to do different styles and just try to push this message of love. I did it for free because, again, nobody has done it, and I don't want anything back from it. It's okay. What I'm doing now is I put it up for sale on iTunes. People can download it for free from my website, but I have a donate button because I'm also donating 25% of the proceeds to missingkids.org. And that's because, at the beginning of the pandemic, I had learned that 800,000 kids go missing every year. That's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, why not lend my hand? God gave me this talent for free. I didn't pay for it. So why not bless the world with something for free? And I feel like, when you do things from your heart without asking for anything in return, there's going to be so many blessings behind that. And even if they're not, why not do something for people for free? Because at the end of the day, man, like we're here to help. We're not here to take advantage of. Yeah. Things. I'm okay. God has blessed me in so many ways that I'm okay. I can do this. And why not do it?
Yeah. When I'm not doing this, I work as a therapist for children under 18 in the UK, and so the course that you picked up, I think it is something that we probably take for granted. 800,000 kids going missing. Yes. So you think about the families. You think
that's
about
1.6 million parents.
Yeah,
that's missing their kids.
Yeah,
that's
the siblings. But what does the charity, what do they do? Missing kids. What do they help find them, or what's
they help find? Yeah, they help find them. They also, help the families deal with it. I mean, I don't know how you help people deal with something like that. I just think that, I'm just surprised that a lot of other celebrities are not talking about this. I'm just surprised that we don't see this on the news every day. Yeah. That's why I wanted to do it, because it's like, why the hell are we not talking about this? This is the biggest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Forget who the goddamn president is or who this is. It's kids out here goddamn missing. Yeah. Like, and we're not talking about it. We more fighting over other crazy shit. And, we're not paying attention to the children. The children are our future. Yeah. I mean, if we're not protecting them, then what the hell are we doing? So that was my whole thing. And again, me doing this whole 100% free album, it's also, we want to be free again. We want to be free from a lot of things. 100% free represents free from addiction, free from negative thinking. I think, you know, it's okay to enjoy the world, but we overconsume everything. We overconsume. Now we can't even live because we can't live without it.
Yeah.
You know, so my whole thing with pushing 100% free is to be free from everything that may be harming you, because the body is the temple.
Yeah.
And if we're not taking care of this thing, then, I mean, that's why we leave Earth a little bit sooner than we should.
Yeah.
Because we don't pay attention to our house, the house that we live in.
Yeah.
So that was my thing with pushing 100% free. I felt like I got a message, and I felt like I wanted to participate. I didn't have a choice in it.
Yeah.
I had to do it. You know, I had to do it.
Yeah. You know, somebody did ask about where you go when you're writing songs, but then there's a point that I knew that you had to take a time off to meditate. Well, you know, what was the reasoning behind that, and where exactly did you get to go?
I was, man, about maybe 13 years ago, man, I was having a tough time. You know, I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot of marijuana, having a lot of negative thoughts. I was just going through a lot of things mentally that I couldn't explain. You know, it just had me down. And the only thing I could do was self-medicate at that particular time. So I had went on Twitter and I had asked somebody, man, like, what could I do? Like, and the first thing that came was, you should try to meditate. Now, I had never tried it or never did it before. So I went in and researched a little bit and tried to find out what it was about. And I did it one day. And the day that I did it, I had the most excruciating headache ever in my life. It was like my body was fighting me. My body and my mind didn't want to sit there in silence. It just wanted to keep, you know, doing its thing, you know, because that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
So I started meditating, man. I kept at it. And eventually, man, you know what? I just started to realize, like, wow, I'm in control. You know, I mean, these are just ideas. These are just suggestions. I don't have to grab every one of them. I could just, you know, I could pick and choose which ones I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Then the thought came, cigarettes. Cigarettes started legal. I'm like, that's just a thought. It's just a thought that pops in my mind. And when it pops in, I just got to say no to it. So once I started to realize that, I started applying it to everything. You know what I'm saying? I started applying it and making sure that, look, I'm the master. This is the slave. If whatever idea you come up with, it's up to me to either do it or not to do it. But many people, what they do is they don't even understand the difference between, they just go right into it. They go right into whatever the mind does, they go right into it.
Yeah.
You know, without thinking about it. To me, that's a slave, you know?
Yeah.
You have to become the master of your house. So what I did was, the better and better I became at meditating, another friend of mine called me and said, you know, you should go to Peru.
Peru.
They have this thing down there called ayahuasca. You should go try it. So I said, you know what? Boom, I'm gonna try it. The very next day, she told me. I went and I booked me a flight. Everything just lined up. It was like I was supposed to go. It's meant for me to go. So I went there, man. I stayed in the jungle for 2 weeks.
Is it like a hotel or something? Is it like a camp?
No, it was like it was a retreat. You know, it was probably, they had maybe 15 people. Were there, and we all stayed in different places. You know, so I was back in the back a little bit more, back in the jungle part, and we all came to meet up late at night, you know, to discuss and to take ayahuasca and things like that. But it was the best experience I've had in my life because I had never traveled by myself. I was going to a foreign place. I didn't know the language. I jumped off the plane with a sign saying, you know, take me here. They could have took me anywhere and killed me. So that was the first time in my life that I had to really, really use my faith.
Wow.
And it showed me that, you know, faith is all we got. You know, we can sit here and try to play like, you know, we in control of these things. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, faith is what took me there and what brought me back home. And I use that I don't worry about anything anymore, man. I just let life happen because it's going to happen anyway. Did
your family and friends notice a difference after you returned?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, again, man, I was an asshole for a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? Because of my alcoholism, because of, you know, so when I started to meditate, people started to see a change in me already because I started, you know, a lot about me was becoming different. Now, a lot of people didn't like the change either because, because while I was drinking and doing all those things, I was also giving a lot of money away and funding a lot of things that I shouldn't have been funding. So as I'm getting better, the people that were taking advantage of me, they didn't want to see a change.
Wow.
But the people that loved me was very happy and in my corner and was like, yo, man, just keep doing what you're doing.
Wow.
And I'm happy I am where I am right now, and the stage of my life that I am right now. Because I know that, in order to become a better person, man, we got to fix self first.
Yeah, as I said, I'm a therapist, CBT, so you get these negative automatic thoughts that come in. It's like going into a bank and a thought comes, can you rob this? And somebody who has anxiety would think, oh, I'm going to rob the place, and they won't go into a bank again. Right. And you have to realize that the thoughts are going to come, but you can control the thoughts.
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? And another thing that people don't realize is that it's what you pay attention to. You have to pay, stop paying attention to those type of thoughts. Because you know what? I'll tell you this. They kind of own me because I got another interview.
Okay. As you finish it up, this fine.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying though.
No, this was about the thoughts, about owning and taking control.
Yeah. So I think that, a lot of people don't understand that again, it's what you pay attention to, and you just gotta, I just can't wait for people to start waking up and understanding, man, that who they are inside and what's available to them, if they just change their life. I think a lot of us are just, we're sleepwalking, and we need to understand where the power lies.
Yeah. So I guess finally the album is going to come out. Are we going to expect? Now I did see on Instagram you were with RL and was it
Carl Thomas and
Carl Thomas? Yeah. So are we expecting a video from Karma anytime soon?
Oh yeah. The video should be. We're just wrapping it up right now. Expect a remix as well. Okay. I don't want to give too much of that away, but it's gonna be a really dope remix. And yeah, man, I'm excited, man. The album came out on Valentine's Day. The day that we, said love was Love Day.
Yeah.
Every day is Love Day, but it released on Valentine's Day. Again, I'm giving 25% of the proceeds to missingkids.org. Or, again, you can go and you can download the album from my website for free. You can buy it on iTunes. You can stream it on all the platforms. It's there for you to do so. And again, I love the fans, man. I appreciate them for rocking with me. But I would love your support so I can, help those kids, man. And again, if you can't, there's no pressure at all. Enjoy the music.
Will we ever see you back on the road again? Is when things calm down, the COVID and stuff?
I can't wait, man. I really can't wait to get back on stage. It's been a year. I can't remember a time in my life that I said I haven't been on stage in a year. This has been a year, man, and I hate it. I hate it. But again, we have to follow rules, and I can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, are you still part of Untouchables?
Yeah, Eddie's my man, man. Eddie's my man. We'll always be. Got a lot of love and respect for him. I can't wait for this next project, which will be called Elevate. That's when we bring everything back together. I would have had him on this particular album, but again, I was doing it for free. So I didn't want to reach out to none of my friends and ask them to work for free. But this next album, Elevate, is what you would expect from Donell, but on steroids.
Okay. One question I always ask all my guests is that if you were stuck in an elevator and they said, look, it'll take about 2 or 3 hours, what movie would you want to watch before we get you out? What would you pick?
Movie?
Yeah.
I'm picking Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that movie, man.
One of the top 10 movies ever. And then they're about to put the movie on, but they said, look, we can play a song for you before we put the movie on. What song would you request?
Oh, man. I think I'm requesting Michael Jackson, Lady of My Life.
That's my all-time.
That's mine. That's my all-time joint right there. Out of all records, it's that one.
Rod Temperton, genius songwriter, but the way Michael delivers the song,
amazing.
I only listen to the song probably once every other 2 or 3 months because I don't want it. It's like fine wine; you just can't rinse it out and stuff. Back in the 90s, everyone had a Stevie remix and recover. But not many people did the Michael stuff, and I wonder, would you ever consider doing doing Lady in Your Life, Lady in My Life?
You know what? I didn't do Lady in My Life, but what I did was I did take the track and wrote my own song on it. And it's called Loving You. Okay. If you get a chance, go look it up on YouTube. It's called Loving You. I love that record. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to choose between, I'll always choose Lady in My Life. But I'm saying if I had to choose between any of my other records, Loving You is one of those joints that it should have made my album. But you know, again, Rod Temperton and Mike was like, nah, we're not letting you use that record. But it's a dope record.
Every night when I close my eyes and I pray to the Lord that I wake up next to you. And I think about all the times we share and I cherish all of them. Tell me it ain't going nowhere, 'cause girl, you got me wanting you, needing to be pleasing you, touching you, holding you. There's nothing that I'd rather do. Loving you, wanting you, needing to be pleasing you, touching you, holding you. There's nothing that I'd rather do. She knows I like it nice and wet. We're loving her body through the night. We lay beside the fireplace, got the bubbles flowing with the moonlight. No woman can replace her love when taking me on a sexual high. This can get emotional and I can't even lie, 'cause girl, you got me strung out and I'm loving you, needing to be pleasing you, touching you, yeah. There's nothing that I'd rather do. Loving you, wanting you, needing to be pleasing you. I gotta be pleasing you, baby. There's nothing that I'd rather do. She does a striptease for me, so sexy that it just blows my mind. And as I close it, the floor, she bends over and takes a sip of wine. I'm about ready to beat it up, but she wants to give me a slow grind. I let her do just what she wants, 'cause at the end of the night I'm always satisfied. You got me, leading to be pleasing you. I gotta be touching you, holding you. There's nothing that I'd rather do. Loving you, wanting you, needing to be pleasing you. I gotta be touching you and holding you, baby. There's nothing that I'd rather do. Said I love this girl, she really takes care of me. She meets any sexual desire that I need. She's the kind of girl that every man would want. That's why I love her, I'm gonna take care of her. She's my freak, my peace, and she's always there for me. Fading to be pleasing you, and touching you and holding you. There's nothing that I'd rather do. Wanting you, needing to be pleasing you. Said I'm touching and loving you. There's nothing. Break it down for me one time. See what I'm talking about, lady? She gives me good loving all through the night. Yeah. And I know it might sound a little crazy, but she keeps me satisfied. And it feels so good that you got me loving you. Yeah. Said I'm touching you and holding you. There's nothing that I'd rather do. She gives me good loving through the night. Listening, hugging, feels so right.
What song would you request?
Oh man. I think I'm requesting Michael Jackson, Lady of My Life.
You know, that's my all-time
That's mine. That's my all-time joint right there. Out of all records, is that one.
I mean, Rod Temperton, genius songwriter, but the way Michael delivers the song,
Amazing.
you know, I only listen to the song probably once every other 2 or 3 months because I don't want it. It's like fine wine; you just can't rinse it out and stuff. Back in the 90s, everyone had a Stevie remix and recover, you know, but not many people did the Michael stuff. And I wonder, would you ever consider doing Lady in My Life?
You know what? I didn't do Lady in My Life, but what I did was I did take the track and wrote my own song on it. And it's called Loving You. Okay. If you get a chance, go look it up on YouTube. It's called Loving You. I love that record. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had to choose between, I'll always choose Lady in My Life. But I'm saying if I had to choose between any of my other records, Loving You is one of those joints that it should have made my album. But again, Rod Temperton and Mike was like, nah, we're not letting you use that record. But it's a dope record.
Okay, no, definitely check it out. Now, I appreciate the fact that you took time. I know you've got another one and probably in less than an hour and stuff. I appreciate taking the time to answer the questions and stuff. It's been fascinating hearing your journey and stuff, and being able to answer the questions that the people have. But I'm going to really make sure people are aware about the missing kids situation, because I think it's important that we understand that a lot of us lost family members to COVID, and if you my dad passed away in December, and so I know now how important it is to obey those kind of rules. But if I had a son or child who was missing, it's the worst thing because you don't know where they are. At least my dad, I know where he's at. But if they're missing, you're constantly thinking, are they coming around and stuff? So it's really important that we really look into that, and I'll be sure to do parts of this to make sure that people are aware of this when this goes out and stuff. But
I appreciate you, man.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor really listening to really get me on board, and the album, the song "Cry," because I saw that when you put out the promo for the missing kids, but it wasn't on your album. Was it on a previous album?
Yeah, Cry was on my Journey of a Gemini album.
Okay.
Yeah, it just made sense to go with that promo because it's missing kids and all of that. Yeah. So that's why I put it on there. But that's not a new song. That song probably about maybe 8-9 years old.
And that's the problem, because they didn't, it wasn't going to promote it. That a lot of us, unless we really, and that's the problem that we have with how radio and how the music industry has really shifted. But I appreciate the fact that you and your team are looking to see what can we do to take the streets back. I appreciate the area back. But I appreciate the interview and stuff. And yeah, thanks a lot, Donell.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Great show, by the way. Great show. I watch your show too.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, my brother.
All right.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between us,
or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They don't understand what those boys are winning all spirits.
Play it.
These guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.